I survived pressure differentials up to 7,000 pounds and temperatures as low as negative 271 degrees Celsius.
For how long?
8 minutes.
You got a death wish? How you gonna survive in space without a damn suit?
Like I said, I'm Kyonian, bitch.
Kurtzman Trek in a nutshell. Written by bitches, for bitches. Howdy all, I am Adam the Renaissance Nerd, and I come to you today with my review of Star Trek Starfleet Academy Season 1, Episode 1. Wow. Let's get some things out of the way here, all right? This is not Star Trek. How do I know that? I have been watching Star Trek since I was a kid in the mid-'80s. I started with the animated version of TOS, the 5th season, the 5th year, whatever they wanted to call it back then. I started with that. Then, of course, I got introduced to a little bit of TOS. It was a little over my head, but then Motion Picture, Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock. And then eventually, of course, my sentimental favorite, Voyage Home, the last one I saw with my grandma. Point is, I've been watching. Then, of course, you get to the end of the 80s. You get the remaining original cast movies. You get TNG. We go on. DS9, Voyager, Enterprise. And then it's over. Then it's over. Whether you like it or not, Nemesis was the last real bit of Star Trek stuff. We give a semi-pass to Picard Season 3, but that's a discussion for a different time. You can go watch my reviews of Picard Season 3. They're on this channel if you want to enjoy me being happy. Because I'm not going to be happy with this. Because Kurtzman Trek, New Trek, is not Star Trek. Very simply put, this is made for people who are dumb. This show is dumb. It's written poorly, directed poorly. First episode directed by Alex Kurtzman himself. It is not coherent. Let me give you that. It's coherent. It's coherently stupid. There is no love for Star Trek in this. There's only cheap disdain. And I say cheap because they throw things in here to make you think they care about Star Trek, to make you try and get nostalgia baited here and there, a name here, an image there, an alien species there, an exocomp. Fuck you, the exocomps. Don't do that to me, you assholes. Love the exocomps. Don't you ruin that for me. Anyway, so here we are, Season 1 of Season 2. There will be a Season 2 out there. They booked this for 2 seasons. Here's the deal. They probably purchased 20 episodes and then cut it in half and said, here's Season 1 and Season 2. Because we are looking at what is likely now the end of Kurtzman Trek. I have a feeling in my little nerd heart that this is the end of Kurtzman Trek. And we are going to be done with it once they run this course. But we still have to run this course. And we are going to do that. So let's get into this. How are we going to do this? We're just going to run straight through it. There is one continuous narrative. There are no A plots or B plots. It's just the A plot with sprinkles of character introduction and development and insults to real Star Trek left and right. And I say that very aware that it's 900 years in the future. Things can change. No. We'll get into that in a moment. So we're going to run right through it. I will stop to comment here and there. And we'll reach the end. Hopefully, I will not have pulled my hair out. Hopefully, you haven't pulled your hair out either. Hopefully, you'll laugh along the way with me. So without further delay, let's begin our review of Starfleet Academy Episode 1. I don't know what the title is, and I don't care.
Caleb, listen to me. Don't trust them. Don't trust them. You trust me. You trust our moon. Bye-bye, Mommy. I love you. Mama.
We begin with being reminded that this is very much Kurtzman Trek and not Star Trek. They have to remind us that at some point in the history of the galaxy, that a mental retard, an alien retard who's autistic, had a tantrum because he lived on a dilithium planet, and that made him psychically connected to all the dilithium in the galaxy. And when he had his autistic tantrum meltdown, he sent a mental boom that blew up all the dilithium in the galaxy at once because that happens, because that could happen. And no, it couldn't. This is why Cursed with Trek is terrible. They come up with the most insane things in order to tell their stupid stories, because they had to, for Discovery's storyline, they had to push the galaxy back to the Stone Age of space travel in a desperate attempt to make it interesting, which it was not. Anyway, so they have to remind us that the burn happened and everybody died and dilithium went away. And they forgot to talk about the part where Earth and Starfleet and the Federation became isolationists and said F you to the rest of the galaxy. They forgot to mention that part. Although they do kind of lean into how Federation bad at one point. Anyway, so we begin with Tatiana Maslany, a.k.a. She-Hulk, and we'll call her She-Hulk for the purposes of this review. She-Hulk has a little boy. We'll call him Caleb, because that is actually his name, and I don't know the actor's name, so we'll call him Caleb, the actual character. She-Hulk and her little boy Caleb are sitting here looking out a window at this view of these planets or moons or whatever, and she's telling him, one day, we'll go to Earth. We'll go to Earth, and, well, when we do that, we'll be home, and it'll be nice, but you have to understand, little boy Caleb, that in order to get to Earth, we got involved with some bad people, a.k.a. Paul Giamatti, who's something called a Klingerite, which I guess means a Klingon fucked something and spewed it out. Anyway, we got involved with Paul Giamatti. I don't care what his real name is in the show. And he turned out to be a bad man who killed people to get us food. And the little bear that he had goes, he's a pirate. It's a little robot bear he's holding. And she says, well, we had to do this. You have to understand that things got bad, and I did this to protect you. And you have to understand that our little secret code, and she tells him the secret code is the way that we'll know to talk to each other, blah, blah, blah. And I love you always. And then here comes some Federation goons, because they behave like goons. They come in there and take her away, and we are introduced to Captain Aki, played by Holly Hunter. And we're just going to call her Holly Hunter because it's just Holly Hunter. She's not really acting. She's just being Holly Hunter in this entire episode, and likely for the entire series. So Holly Hunter comes in, and she's going to read the charges to Paul Giamatti and She-Hulk about what they've done. And Paul Giamatti's going to say, I did this to save them because making people starve is wrong, and the Federation is evil, and this and that. And he's going to get pulled away, and he yells to the kid, remember to hate me, kid. It'll make you warm at night, and you'll be a man about it. It's really bad crap dialogue. And then, unfortunately, he's getting sentenced to a penal colony, and She-Hulk is going to get sent to a rehabilitation center, which she goes, oh my God, a rehabilitation center. It's the Federation. It's fucking club fed probably. They'll give you nice drinks. You can have walks in the garden. I mean, it's not like you're being sent to Repente, where you're going to mine shit and be beaten up by Klingon overseers. It's a Federation rehabilitation center. But they want to remind you, I guess, that in Discovery era and in Cursed with Trek, the Federation is bad in this time. Shut up. So she freaks out. So She-Hulk freaks out as she be dragged away, and she yells at the little boy, don't trust them. Don't trust anybody but me, your mommy. I'm She-Hulk. And little boy just goes, Mama, mommy. And he drops his bear, and she gets pulled away. And now Holly Hunter is going to talk to him real nice a little bit later and say, we're going to take you to Bajor. Because they turned Bajor into an orphanage, apparently. That's how I look at it. Bajor is now where you send your orphans of the galaxy. No mention of the wormhole, no mention of nothing, of course. So Bajor is where she's going to set up an orphanage where kids who's lost everything can be there. And she's going to take him there. It's going to be nice. And he goes, will it be okay? And the kid puts on an act. This kid's 6. He's 6. And he's putting on an act. Because she says, I'm going to take you there. He agrees to it, but says, can I have my bear? I dropped it in the other room. And while he hugs her, he palms her comm badge, which apparently is enough to open scanning and doors and everything. Now, comm badges are not just comm badges. They apparently are mini computers now. Anyway, he palms her comm badge, and she realizes that he took her comm badge, and he escapes. So 6-year-old is smart enough. I guess Wesley Crusher genius smart. Not like I'm giving bonuses to Wesley Crusher. I hate Wesley Crusher. But Wesley Crusher genius level, where he had her comm badge, used it to hack the computer of the cell, dropped the force field that was keeping out the dust storm, and he just, 6-year-old kid just leaps into the dust storm. Leaps in there and runs away and goes on the run for 15 years. 15 years. And then we fast forward to 15 years later. Caleb is a big, strong, diverse young man. And he's been captured by aliens who I don't know what they are. Listen, as good as I am, I don't remember every alien species in Star Trek. And it's Kurtzman Trek. They've introduced a lot of fake Star Trek aliens too. So don't try and point at me and go, oh, look at you, big Star Trek guy. You don't know if these aliens are real or not. I don't remember everything. I am imperfect. I'm good, but I'm not perfect. Anyway. So some aliens, they're bringing him to a prison planet. He's become a criminal. He's a petty criminal, steals and cheats and lies his way. Oh, but it's okay because he's looking for mommy. He's looking for She-Hulk. Anyway, so Caleb's going to break out of his restraints. He's going to bite off a dude's ear while they're fighting. And then the ship they're in is going to go out of control. And they're all going to get plastered against the wall and the ceiling because I guess they forgot that Star Trek has inertial dampener technology. And I guess they forgot that. So they're going to, and he's going to basically get the ship, but then he's going to get captured anyway. It's a whole big boring sequence of, oh, look, he's a cool guy. He can fly the ship. And he's still looking for mommy. He gets captured. Now we jump to Bajor, where Holly Hunter is actually taking care of the kids at the orphanage on Bajor. And then Oded Fehr shows up. I know he appeared in Discovery, and that hurts me because I like Oded Fehr as an actor. I really enjoy him when he's in stuff. But Oded Fehr shows up. He's an admiral, and he says, we need you to come back. We need you to be Chancellor because we're bringing back Starfleet Academy. And I want you to be Chancellor, Captain Holly Hunter. So Captain Holly Hunter says, no, I'm 422 years old. So wait, oh, wow. So she drops some alien species name that I kind of missed, which then... She says, I'm 422 years old, so she's apparently some long-lived species. And he wants her because she apparently lived when the Federation was still the Federation, which I doubt, because this is 900 years after, the end of Voyager and Star Trek Nemesis. And I don't know. I don't want to say that anything in Kurtzman timeline where they cut off Federation. So I don't like this. This is dumb. This is bad. They've created her to be a bridge to the past, but she's not anything we care about at all because she didn't exist in real Star Trek. Anyway. And she keeps saying, no, I just want to eat ice cream here with the kiddies. Then he says, we have Caleb. We have Caleb. And then we learn that she quit right after the kid jumped into the sandstorm. Captain Holly Hunter quit Starfleet because she regretted separating a mommy from her kid. Once again, this is very, very weak narrative storytelling. They try and get us invested in these characters quickly. And I'm going to equate this to, I watch a lot of anime. Anime does it very well. In 2 or 3 episodes, which is essentially an hour, they get you invested in a bunch of characters. In the 1 hour, 15 minutes of this show, I'm not invested in anybody. In fact, I still hate everybody. By the end of it, I don't like them. I even dislike Robert Picardo's doctor. We'll get there. Right. So once she hears that Caleb's been found and that she can help him get a second chance, then she's all in. And then we cut to her on a shuttle with nasty-looking Caleb. He's been dirty, and she's reviewing her new crew of the USS Athena, which is part of Starfleet Academy. We'll get into that in a few minutes. And she basically goes through this whole boring spiel of convincing him to join, get a chance to find his mom, blah, blah, blah. And he's resistant because he's a tough guy. He's a tough guy. He doesn't need nobody's help. He just needs to find She-Hulk, and everything will be fine. But he can't do it because he's a criminal, and he's going to get busted again. So she's giving him a way out. Serve time in Starfleet, enlist, and you'll be set free. You can find your mom. And he doesn't really take the deal, not till the end of the episode, but he sort of goes okay. And then we're going to get a nice look at the Athena. Here's the Athena with the crap Kurtzman Trek designs where their shitty warp nacelles aren't even attached to the ship. They just float there. It's a Discovery piece of shit crap right there. And of course, now we're going to beam on board, or shuttle on board. No beaming. No beaming, unless you're beaming from one room to another. No beaming. And you will be introduced piecemeal to the rest of the cast, which is bloated, unnecessary, and obnoxious. Let's get started with our Klingon Jem'Hadar female hybrid.
Who do you think you are speaking with, boy? You are in the presence of Laura Fuck, daughter of Ashmeret, from the Klingon house of Dakhatash and the Jem'Hadar lineage of Kabaj. Your only reply is no, cadet master.
Welcome to orientation at Starfleet Academy. They arrive at the Athena, they go on board, and now, as I said a bit ago, now we get the introduction of the rest of the cast. A bloated cast of names I'm not even going to bother to try and remember. Everybody gets a nickname. Everybody gets a nickname. If you're familiar with my reviews, we're at that point. Everybody gets nicknames. I don't know or their real names. Okay, we'll begin with dealing with Gym Teacher Jem'Hadar. Gym Teacher here is a female Klingon Jem'Hadar hybrid. I'm going to say it. That shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen at all. Why? Adam, I'm ready for this. Here comes from you Kurtzman Trek retard mongoloids out there walking in here and going to yell at me in my comments or wherever you're going to find it. You yell at me, it's 900 years later. All kinds of stuff can happen. First, read the finger. And now shut up, sit down, or go away. Because here's the truth. Jem'Hadar are all men. They are all male. Okay? Very simple. They are men. Genetically created by the founders, a.k.a. the changelings, those behind the power of the Dominion. And when we go back to real Star Trek, at the end of Deep Space Nine, through Voyager, and even, well, we can't say Enterprise, because Enterprise is a prequel, there is no indication whatsoever that the founders let any Jem'Hadar go loose in Alpha Beta. Now, happened in some books. Odo did send one to DS9 in one of the DS9 books, but books don't count in Star Trek. They're not canon, so we jettison that right away. So Jem'Hadar created in a lab, completely artificial species, not created, not found on any planet. The founders made them from scratch. So you're telling me I'm supposed to believe that Alex Kurtzman decided to go find Ira Stephen Bear and all the writers who worked on DS9, including Ron D. Moore. You're going to tell me that he said, listen, guys, I want to make a female Jem'Hadar. How would that work? Those of you who created the Jem'Hadar. No, he didn't do that. He just said, I'm going to make a female Jem'Hadar Klingon hybrid, and we're going to make it happen right here, and she's going to be of the lineage of this and the house of that. That's all he did. He didn't go talk to anybody who created real Star Trek. There's no lore behind this. Kurtzman said, I'm making it happen, and boop, there it is. That's why she exists. There is no explanation. There is no lore. And if we go further into the series and we get an explanation, I'm so excited to hear this. I want to hear the bullshit lore explanation that Alex Kurtzman and whoever and the showrunner of this crap ass show come up with. I cannot wait, because I guarantee it'll be garbage. And there are moments in this episode alone that show us, we'll get there, it's towards the end of the episode, that they have no concept of the lore surrounding the species, the alien species that exist in Star Trek, from TOS through TNG, DS9, Voyager. None. But we'll wait for that. It's a surprise at the end. Although, if you've been looking at the internet today, you already know it. But we're going to wait in our chronological discussion here. So, Gym Teacher here, who shouldn't exist, should not exist, because Jem'Hadar don't fuck to procreate. Once again, we don't know if they have sexual reproduction organs. We don't know. Do Jem'Hadar have balls? We don't know. Never addressed. Therefore, they don't. All right. So she yells at him, makes him do push-ups, and then here comes our Klingon of the series. Now, I asked my buddy Brad, when I said, is this guy really a full Klingon? He looks like a hybrid, because everything is a hybrid in this show. Everybody's a goddamn hybrid. Here comes our Klingon. This is not a Klingon. This is not a Klingon. And he talks like this with a hyper deep voice. Shh. You know, Michael Dorn and every other Klingon from TNG forward, they didn't need voice modulation. You don't need voice modulation to alter your voice to be dark, to deep. And Klingons don't all need, they don't need that. So this guy, we got pacifist Klingon because he's not here to be a warrior. He's here to be a science officer. So we see him, and he gets told, and she yells at him a little bit about being a warrior and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so she marks him as science. She marks Caleb as undecided. And then here comes this Kurtzman Trek teleporter bullshit. In Kurtzman Trek, teleporters do everything. The transporters do it all. Caleb gets transported to basically, I guess, onboard medical facilities. I'm not going to call it sick bay because it's not a bay. It's a whole big area. Anyway, and he's had his hair cut. He's got a new uniform. He's been shaved. He's probably been cleaned too. They probably shoved a teleporter loofah up his ass and washed that shit from crack to hole. Anywho, so he gets teleported, and then, oh man, now here comes the reintroduction of Robert Picardo's The Doctor from Voyager. Now, I will say this. Robert Picardo, he's been talking some shit online about this stuff. So we're not going to discuss that here. We're going to save that for panel discussions. He's still good as the Doctor. He is still good as the Doctor. Robert Picardo is an excellent actor. He's a great character actor. And he still remembers how to be the Doctor. Problem is, it's all shallow. None of the depth that was developed in Voyager comes through here. It's all surface level Doctor mannerisms, phrases, words, behavior, tone. None of it is deep. And we get this whole clip here as he's inoculating people with hypo sprays that look like phasers. Do you think they're funny making a hypo spray look like an old school phaser? Because you're not. It isn't funny. It's an insult, plain and simple. So he's going to be yammering in Doctor phrases. He inoculates Caleb, gets rid of the worms he has. And then here comes the stupidest thing. And this character is going to apparently be reappearing throughout the whole series. Fat here, I'm just going to call her Fat. Fat here walks up, says, I think I swallowed my comm badge. What, was it sitting on top of the mountain of cupcakes you ate? How do you swallow a comm badge? This is supposed to be Starfleet Academy. The best of this. I know that they're scraping the barrel to try and repopulate Starfleet, but in what way, shape, or form is this retard Fat here possibly going to be able to be any sort of officer in Starfleet if she eats her comm badge? Seriously, I think I swallowed my comm badge. This is not Star Trek. This is bad comedy. This is making fun of a fat retard who a little bit later, when the disaster's going on, just walks around going, red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert. And she has to be stopped and told, don't say it because she's stupid. Do you understand? We are now getting into the meat of this episode where the dialogue, the exchanges between these characters are only going to get worse. And of course, during this, they did a cheap reference to the original pilot episode of Voyager, where the Doctor gets turned on, asks for a tricorder. Harry Kim gives him a regular tricorder, and he says, medical tricorder. They reference that. Thank you, Brad, for reminding me about that. I had forgotten. Been a long time since I watched the premiere of Voyager. I watched Voyager at least 10 times all the way through, but I forgot that little bit. As I said earlier, good, but not perfect. All right, once we're through Picardo pretending to be the Doctor again, we now go through a series of other introductions. Now we get to meet, I'm going to call her Admiral's daughter. I don't remember her name. She's also another half-breed. And she's going to be obnoxious because her thing is, I like you. I'm really nice, but I'm going to be obnoxious and make a lot of jokes while being nice to you. She's going to run into Sam. Who is Sam? Well, she's a hologram or a photonic being. And I'll cut to this right now because I'm going to skip she's going to meet up with a doctor later who's her idol. And she's saying she's literally 4 months old with the program to be a 17-year-old with all kinds of programmable stuff in there, how to be a 17-year-old. Problem is, she's socially awkward. But Sam stands for something, but I'm just going to call her Supremely Annoying Manatee. That's what Sam stands for in this. So Supremely Annoying Manatee is going to try and be friends with people, but everybody's ignoring her. And here comes Admiral's daughter to be her friend. And that's just, oh, look, we're going to be friends right away. Yay! Because this is a teen drama now. It's not Star Trek. It's a teen high school college drama because I guess Starfleet Academy is more college than high school, but it's got all the elements of high school. So at one point now, we're going to be in the halls, people walking, and Caleb's going to be hanging out with his new best friend, Klingon boy, Klingon pacifist, and they bump into, you saw him in the opening clip, I don't know his name. We're just going to call him Bitch, because he's a bitch. Later on, they call him Asshole 1, Asshole 2. I'm just going to call him Bitch. So Bitch here tries to pick a fight with the Klingon, who doesn't want to fight. Isn't that an interesting character, a Klingon who doesn't want to fight? We already did that with Alexander Rashenko. And how did that work out? Everybody hated Alexander. Mr. Pacifist, Mr. I don't want to be a Klingon. We did that. TNG and DS9, and it didn't work. So I'm Alex Kurtzman, I'm going to do it again. The Klingon who wants, instead of a diplomat, because Alexander wanted to be a diplomat, with the Klingon who wants to be a science officer, but he won't fight back. So Caleb stands up for him, and him and Bitch are going to go at it until Gym Teacher shows up. Yeah, my mistake. During editing, I realized it was the doctor that shows up, not Gym Teacher. Made a mistake. Sorry. Breaks it up and sends everybody on their way. Of course, Caleb runs away and ends up in a room. And here's now where the plot, this is a plot point because it has to be that way so the plot can move forward. He decides to hack the comms and use his code with his mom to try and see if she's looking for him. Unfortunately, in doing that, he gives away their position. And then, of course, here comes Admiral's daughter to hit on him. And now begins the love triangle because it's going to be him, Admiral's daughter, and Bitch. So Caleb, Admiral's daughter, and Bitch are all going to be in a love triangle because Admiral's daughter clearly wants to be a whore. She's flirting with everybody. Anyway, so now we're done with orientation. We've just about met everybody except the bridge crew. I forgot to mention this. So Holly Hunter now meets her bridge crew. And she's going to introduce herself to everybody. And she starts, right away she calls Gym Teacher number 1. Once again, the people behind Kurtzman Trek don't realize that all captains, they don't call their executive officers number 1. Yes, in the pilot, they called Majel Barrett's character number 1, and then she was gone, and that didn't happen again until Captain Picard used the nickname number 1 for Riker. Sometimes she still called him Commander Riker or Will. That's a Picard thing. It's a Picard Will Riker thing. It is not a universal thing that all captains do. So now she's going to call her number 1. Once again, a failure to understand Star Trek. Anyway, now we get introduced to the rest of the bridge crew, who are all useless. And then there's Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is there. Once upon a time, I wanted to do very, very, very dirty things with Becky Lynch. Now I don't care anymore. But either way, got Becky Lynch, got a whole bunch of people whose names don't matter. Bloated bridge crew. Your bridge crew should be your cast. But no, these are all tossaways. So now they give her chair, and then Holly Hunter spends time... Captain Holly Hunter spends time adjusting her chair, and then she gives a very saccharine speech to all the cadets before they go off to get their activities done. As the Athena launches, it goes to warp. They now have to go choose their electives. And we're going to cut this one short because I want to move on to the next segment. Basically, a lot more introductions. Supremely annoying manatee goes to introduce himself to the doctor who wants to start opera club. And he doesn't want to be her mentor. And he even says, "I'm not your mentor." Calls her holograms. Oh, I'm a photonics. They even find a way to put in retarded versions of pronouns in this crap. And then, of course, you during this whole thing too, this really pissed me off. You got it in the intro too. At one point, you see an exocomp flying around. The Geordi exocomp episode from TNG is that's a favorite episode of mine. I love the idea of the exocomps. It's a whole idea of what is intelligence, what is new life. It's the core ideas of Star Trek. That episode encapsulates core ideals of Star Trek, finding new life with Data, Geordi, and the exocomps. And geez, they just had them flying around. They're just flying around because, oh, look, wasn't this a cool little thing from the Next Generation? Let's just drop it in here and have them flying around. Because exocomps were cool. You mean they survived 900 years since TNG? I hate that. It's just a jangly key of pretend nostalgia, pretend caring. And of course, I forgot, during Holly Hunter's speech, she talks about your names will be put up there with the great names of Starfleet's past, and they have a wall of every major character's name. Fake, it's nostalgia bait. Plain and simple, it's nostalgia bait. They're trying to trick you. They're trying to make you think we give a damn, but they don't give a damn. They don't know the meaning behind any of these names. Not a one. All right, so while they're busy doing elective selection, they get a signal. Hey, there's something weird going on out here. And they say, hey, you know what? This could be a teachable moment. I hate that phrase. Let's come out of warp and examine it. And then, of course, shit hits the fan, and they're going to come under attack by Paul Giamatti.
Incoming holo transmission.
Patch it through.
15 long years. But you look radiant as ever, Captain Ake.
New Spraka.
All right, we are about halfway through this retarded episode right now. And here's where things get even worse. So they decide to come out of warp and scan this thing. And as they do it, as they were doing that, Holly Hunter is sitting in the captain's chair, curled up, reading a book. And I must comment on this because this is a staple of Kurtzman Trek. The complete lack of discipline in Starfleet. People question each other all the time. People yell at their commanding officers all the time. And here is your captain, your chancellor of Starfleet Academy. And now, if I was a smaller person and I really do it, I'd try and curl up in my chair here. But I'm not going to, because you don't want to see any of that. Point is, she's sitting there curled up in her chair reading a book. And now here are the glasses thing. We've all made fun of the glasses thing. But the fact that she's a 422-year-old alien, they're not. I think it's stupid to have anybody wearing glasses in Star Trek, with the exception of Captain Kirk, who is allergic to Retinax, so he can't take Retinax. It's dumb. It's just dumb, and I hate every second of it. But you see this complete lack of discipline. If your captain, your chancellor, is curled up in a ball in her captain's chair, in the big chair, the seat of command, she's treating it like a lounge chair. This is not delightful. It's not homey. It's just wrong. This is not Starfleet. It is not Star Trek. Even Janeway, she never treated her chair like that, and she was a female captain. She didn't treat the captain's chair of Voyager like a lounge chair. Picard sure as hell never did, and neither did Kirk. And neither did Sisko when he was on the Defiant. It is a place of command and authority. And there's no authority. She has none, as far as I'm concerned. She has none. So now they've come out of warp. They're scanning it, and it's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap. Paul Giamatti sets a trap. He releases programmable matter, I think is what they called it, programmable matter, to encase the Athena so that nothing works. And then he's gonna, and during that, everything explodes. People blow. You see the whole classic, everything get blown up all over the place. People getting knocked around. Everybody's damaged. And she sends off gym teacher to go find things, and that's a point because we have to come back. That's a point to notice. She has gym teacher teleport off the bridge to go do shit. Now nobody is hurt. Apparently, everybody's hurt, but nobody's dead. All that damage and nobody died. Unbelievable. I don't believe that for a second. There's no consequences, no stakes. Everybody survived all the massive explosions that racked the Athena. Everybody's fine. So then Holly Hunter is sitting there. Here comes Paul Giamatti with, as Brad pointed out to me, now I can't unsee it, he's got literal tic-tac-toe shaved into the side of his head. Are you kidding me? So here comes Paul Giamatti. He's going to choose scenery. Paul Giamatti, great actor, fantastic actor. But he's a joke here. This is a joke of a villain. I don't take him seriously. I am not threatened by him. And his motivations are simply not revenge. He simply wants to steal their warp core and sell it. Not even interested in Caleb, because he knows here, because he found them because Caleb sent the message to She-Hulk. That's how he found him. And he's going to play it too, and everybody's going to get mad at Caleb over it. Only for a second, though. They're all going to forgive him right away, because he does cool shit. Right. So he wants the warp core. After he says, payback's a bitch, here's where... Now, all the exchanges between Captain Holly Hunter and Paul Giamatti are some of the worst, saddest, modern lingo-filled dialogue I've ever heard. All these exchanges, from this point on, this part of the episode, everybody talking to each other, it's like you're walking down the street in now this year, 2026, talking to each other. This is not how people talk to each other in Star Trek. They don't say motherfucker. One point, Caleb goes, motherfucker. They don't say shit. They don't call each other bitch. They don't say ass. They don't say asshole. You do it one time. Voyage home. Colorful metaphors. Double dumbass on you, because guess what? Nobody in the future talks like that anymore. But this is Kurtzman Trek. You gotta make it hip, gotta make it cool, gotta make it so the Zoomers know what's going on. Shut up. So now they're damaged, and they're trying literally, there are moments in this where they're mirroring Kirkisms. They're trying to have Captain Holly Hunter and Paul Giamatti do, I'm seeing a very poor attempt at Kirk and Khan here. Very poor attempt. And it just reeks of terrible. And of course, now in the discussion I had with some of the other guys about this, he's a holographic message. He's walking around the bridge as a hologram, as a holographic communication. Is he walking around his own bridge? How has he not walked into anything? They don't think. Kurtzman Trek doesn't think. They just want you to see the action and not have any thought into the process. So after their blah, 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 now it's let's try and get out of this. In a standard Star Trek kind of way, the ship is in danger. Let's try and fix it. Here's the problem, though. The actual Starfleet officers are useless. Completely and totally useless. We must now rely on the children, the kids, who have next to no experience or no real experience to fix everything. So now it's up to Caleb, Admiral's daughter, supremely annoying manatee, bitch, and Klingon scientist pacifist to save the day. So they're trying to... So first we find everybody in the hallway. Everybody is just coincidentally all in the same hallway as things are going bad. They find gym teacher under some rubble, impaled with something in her gut, and apparently, I don't know if this is right or wrong. I don't know if it's right or wrong. Apparently, I'm going to stand over this. Apparently, a Jem'Hadar's heart is right here. That's where a Jem'Hadar's heart is, apparently. And if she's a Jem'Hadar and a Klingon, she's wounded, she's hurt, she's going to possibly bleed out. If we go to real Star Trek, Klingons and Jem'Hadar are two of the toughest species in Star Trek. Jem'Hadar literally designed to be that way. Strong, durable, don't need food, just need Ketracel White. They can go forever. Or they just need supplements. And then Klingons who have literally redundant systems for everything in them, including a redundant neural pathway, as we learned when Worf died on the table. And then it kicked in, keep his brain alive. Klingons, two of the most durable species in Star Trek. And she is taken out by a piece of shrapnel in her gut. Yeah. You don't understand the species you're working with, do you, Kurtzman, you piece of shit? They got to help her up. Problem is, they can't get anywhere. They need access. And Caleb says, wait a minute, I can fix all of this because I know a programmable matter sounds like. So if I can find the right frequency, I can kill it all at once. But they need to get someplace while they also need to help Gym Teacher. And they can't see anything. And oh, wait a minute, they need a flashlight. But look, they're supremely annoying manatee. All she has to do as literally a program, she is our data. She is our data because she can do things really quickly, apparently. All she has to do is put her hand on the wall and create light in the hallway so people can see. She says, hi there. Hi there. Bad comedy, too. This bad comic. Anyway, right. They now get Gym Teacher to a temporary med bay, the Gnosis, basically a biology lab, and they have to perform some minor surgery. But at the same time, they need to get the programmable matter off the hull. And now becomes everybody working together. We're going to speed through this. So what we have is, and you saw it in the clip, in the intro, Bitch, his species apparently can go exist in vacuum for 8 minutes right now. He's going to say, I'm going to go out there. I can get you the reading on the programmable matter you need. Then Caleb can do it. And then, of course, supremely annoying Manatee is going to help Caleb rapidly program everything in because she's genius, because she's not real. She's a photonic being. And then, of course, Admiral's daughter is going to be helping everybody while being snarky the whole time. Meanwhile, on the bridge, their whole deal is to buy time by running a simulator that convinces Paul Giamatti and his crew that there's a meltdown of some sort happening, and they buy it for the most part. So we get the whole sequences of healing Gym Teacher and fixing her and her yelling at people while they're trying to heal her. And you got Bitch walking on the hull of the Athena, and you have Admiral's daughter yelling at him, oh, if I'm going to find you attractive, get your shit together. You know, it's bad flirting. And he gets it done, and they get in. She's so smart. She summons the doctor. She says emergency. He appears. Why couldn't he appear in the medical lab where they're hurt, where they need actual doctor help? But he appears so he can provide the command overrides so that she can go use a tractor beam to pull Bitch in before he dies out in vacuum because the transporters still aren't working. Meanwhile, Caleb gets his chance thanks to Captain Holly Hunter's magical bid to trick Paul Giamatti and his pirates out of the warp core. He's running down there, and just as he's putting it in there, Paul Giamatti teleports right back in the exact position he needs to be with his gun under his chin. That makes no sense! And I just knocked my filter off my microphone. I just knocked my pop filter off the microphone. Anyway, but it makes no sense. I apologize now if I'm popping because I just knocked my pop filter off the microphone. It makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. How could he appear exactly in that moment, knowing exactly what's going on, to put the gun under his chin? Anyway, they're going to fight, and it's some shit-ass choreography. A lot of quick cuts because Paul Giamatti's a fat old man. Can't do choreography. And, of course, just to make Caleb look good. So they fight this and that. Eventually, Caleb wins and gets all the programmable matter off of the hull of the Athena. And then the Athena's free. And then Becky Lynch fires quantum torpedoes, blows up the enemy ship. And then Paul Giamatti's like, no! But then he escapes in an escape pod, which just happens to be right there. and gets away while Caleb is yelling at him, wanting to know what happened to his mom because he lets the thing, oh, you want to know what happened to your mom here and there. It's like, what happened to my mom? What happened to She-Hulk? Oh, I don't know. And then we're in the end of this. So then apparently everything was forgiven for what Caleb did by Holly Hunter for the most part. We'll get to that in a minute, though. So now apparently everything's fine. They get to Earth. Because apparently, here's the thing. The Athena is part of Starfleet Academy. It's the dorms, it's the classrooms, but there's still the campus in San Francisco. So they arrive in San Francisco, and you get this montage with the song, San Francisco. And you get a shot of all the different species who are now going to be rejoining Starfleet. And we're going to stop right here. That's a Charon. TOS. I think it's season 3. I don't remember. TOS, I'm not perfect. I'm really not perfect on TOS. But that's the Charon. Famous episode. People also know it as the black and white cookie alien episode, where there's only 2 of them left. And they're both men because they've literally genocided their entire species. There's nobody left. And they're going to fight to the death. And that's it. So how is there a female version? How? Once again, grabbing iconic things from Star Trek and just throwing it in there, not understanding that you cannot have a female Charon because 1,000 years ago, not just 900, 1,000 years ago, there were only 2 males left. Tell me how that works. Tell me how that works. But all kinds of people are going to forgive this shit. All kinds of people are going to forgive this shit. Then the Athena lands, and here we are. I guess we're on Earth now for the foreseeable future for Starfleet Academy, which is where it should be, but it doesn't change the fact that it's all really dumb. I'm sure the Athena's going to launch up in there because she had her nacelles taken off because they just hover there now. Fuck you, Discovery. And now Caleb gets read the riot act by Captain Holly Hunter. All these things you did are grounds for expulsion, but you also showed potential for command leadership and putting yourself ahead of others. So therefore, I worked out a plea deal for you. 90 days, lockdown on campus. You're not allowed to leave the campus, and you have to do 100 hours of community service. Wow. He takes it. Then she gives this really lame character backstory speech of how right when the burn happened, she had a son who was in Starfleet Academy, and then he got blowed up when the burn happened, and she didn't know what to do, and she asked herself over and over again, what would I have said to him as a mother when you would? But we don't know your history with your son. How do you know you had bad history? You don't know. I would have just listened to him and not challenged and just been there. And then Caleb goes, you're not my mom. I'm not your son. She goes, I know. And then he takes the deal and they're going to get along. That's it. End of the episode. I didn't watch episode 2 yet. I don't want to, but I have to. Anyway, here we go.
90 days. 100 hours.
Second chances.
So there you have it. Starfleet Academy, Episode 1. What have we learned? They don't understand a thing about Star Trek lore. They will cram in anything to try and get a nostalgia bait crap out of anybody watching this. It once again, Recruitment Trek reveals there is no understanding of actual Star Trek, no understanding of the lore, no understanding of what makes Star Trek Star Trek. It's about exploration. It's about characters. And what we have here is not going to be exploration, at least as I see it. And these characters are all worthless. They're all tired and boring. We're all going to be friends. We're going to have romantic triangles, all this kind of stuff. And yes, does that happen in Star Trek? Sure, it does. But you care about it. You care about the characters eventually. You don't start it in freaking high school, college drama bullshit. We're going to get love triangles. We're going to get coming of age stories. We're going to get all this crap. We're looking for your mom. I'm looking for mommy She-Hulk. Paul Giamatti's still out there. Got to be careful. Holly Hunter's going to be curled up in her captain's chair every week reading a book. There's nothing interesting here. And the performances are all dog shit. The dialogue, terrible. Just terrible. Holly Hunter, she's not phoning it in, but she's just being Holly Hunter. Paul Giamatti chewed scenery, but he's a clown. He's a joke in this. That's not a villain. He's pathetic. And all these young actors, because they're all new people, I've never heard of them before, none of them are standout. They're all obnoxious. They're all terrible. And their characters all suck. And Robert Picardo, great actor, but it's surface level doctor stuff. It's not really the Doctor at all. Not at all. And where they go from here, I don't know. I have yet to watch episode 2. That's for tomorrow. And I do hear that the agenda really starts to creep in there. So we're going to find out. Anyway, thank you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and join me and others this Saturday for the panel review show where no man wants to go reviews. You like it? I like it. Anyway, join for that this Saturday night and every Saturday night as long as this stupid show's going on. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you enjoyed this. And I'll see you next time. Until then, take it easy. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Check out my gaming channel at Renaissance Nerd Arcade and follow me on X Twitter under @TheRedNerd. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.